Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to my session. I'm Sadie Van Buren. I'm a business development manager for Microsoft's Mixed Reality Studios. And today I'm going to talk to you about how mixed reality can accelerate your digital transformation. So just to a few notes about my team, because I think a lot of people don't know that Microsoft has this capability. I work for the Mixed Reality Studios. We are an incubator within Microsoft Services. We have 2 physical locations in London and Redmond, and at those 2 locations are all the roles that you would need to build a custom solution for mixed reality on any device. So the team was formed about 4 years ago, kind of in conjunction with the launch of the HoloLens 1 and to support that device. But we are truly a device-agnostic team, and we can build anything along the AR, MR, VR spectrum. And just to note, the team, the majority of the folks on the team come from a gaming background, so they have really rigorous experience in 3D design and development. And working with us, there's the full backing of Microsoft Services, so anything that you would need to do in terms of deeper integration with your application, data, AI, machine learning solutions, IoT, all those kinds of things, we have the services team to back us up. So just to kind of kick things off and get juices flowing. And if you were at my theater session on Monday, please no spoilers. Working with us in the early days of the team, Boeing developed a mixed reality solution to help their engineers lay out the wiring in planes exactly to spec, right? There's, as you can imagine, miles and miles of wiring within any plane body. And so they wanted a way to get better guidance on where to lay those out to spec. So how much would you guess this is saving them per plane? So show of hands, how many think it's saving them 5 figures per plane? Okay, no one's buying it. How many think it's saving them 6 figures per plane? Okay, maybe 10%, 15% of you. How many think it's saving 7 figures per plane? Hands are shooting up a bit more. Still, I think people are not voting. That's okay, that was about 10% too. The answer is, it is saving them 7 figures per plane. So I share this with you mainly to emphasize the ROI is real. These solutions can really help your business. They're helping people already. It's already out there and happening. So with that, today I want to talk through, just super quickly, what's in it for you to be here in this session. We will go through a quick level set on what mixed reality is and how we define it. And then I will go into the digital transformation stories. So what I would like for you to leave this session with is an understanding of how mixed reality, like that solution set, fits into the sort of digital transformation puzzle. And also, for you to know how you can get started with the solution. So either something that you could try right away, or something that you might be thinking about longer term. So just to quickly level set on mixed reality and how we define it, some folks refer to it as XR. Microsoft prefers the term mixed reality, and basically we just mean anywhere that the physical world and the virtual world meet. And that happens along a spectrum. So on the one side of the spectrum, we have just straight up reality, and then we move into augmentation, usually through 2 dimensions, through a device like a tablet or a phone. The backup guidance in automobiles is a good example of that. Then we move into more of a 3D space, so the space that the HoloLens supports, where you're placing a hologram, but you can still see the physical world around you. And then finally, there's the virtual world, where it's a completely immersive environment. You cannot see the physical world or anything around you. You're just totally immersed in the virtual. And we do feel, I mean, if you've heard Satya talk at all or read his book, you know that this is one of the places where he's putting a big bet on the future, right? It's sort of one of the 3 places in addition to AI and quantum computing. And we really do see it as the 3rd wave. You know, after everyone got a personal computer and everyone got a mobile device, we really do see that this kind of reality is going to be ubiquitous everywhere in the coming years. So to think a little bit about digital transformation, I know there's probably some other more comprehensive talks this week about this. And rather than go through sort of all the stats with you, I wanted to kind of take a poll. So how many people in this audience feel that they understand this phrase, digital transformation? Show of hands. Okay, so that's okay. So not everybody, so there's opportunity here. We're going to go through it today. For those of you who said you understood the phrase, how many feel like you're on a digital transformation journey within your company? Show of hands. All right, that's really like 5% in the room. Okay, and then of that very small 5% that just raised your hands and they're on that journey, who is doing it with a purpose to be kind of get there first and to disrupt? Anyone? No, no hands. Okay, so not so much early adopters in this room, that's okay. Wanted to emphasize also, as I do with every customer conversation I'm in, this digital transformation motion and mixed reality solutions, it's about value for your business. We're not just doing it because we think it's a cool technology or we think you should have it or it's a shiny new thing, right? We really are finding the business value, kind of like with that Boeing example that I shared. We want to just make sure that it's valuable to you and in the most efficient way. So, thinking about the 4 areas of digital transformation as we define them, and if you saw Satya's vision keynote, he kind of shared this as well. There's kind of 4 main areas that we talk about. So empowering employees, kind of making them able to do their jobs more efficiently and more enabled, optimizing your operations, engaging your customers, and transforming your products. And I like to kind of place this delineation to show how, the 2 on the bottom, optimizing operations and engaging employees, empowering employees, those are really more of your bottom line value generation, right? They're like helping you save costs, do things more efficiently, standardize, simplify, whereas the top 2 are really more of your top line revenue generators. So if you can achieve customer engagement or change your products for the better, you could open up entirely new revenue streams for your business. So we're going to go through them one by one. And I will talk about sort of where the scenarios that we're seeing in the industries fit in. And just as part of understanding where I'm coming from, I work with customers in the United States. I cover a very large territory. Actually, I cover Canada and Latin America as well. And I cross all industries. So I'm talking to customers within just about every industry except PubSec. We have a specialist for that. As you can imagine, defense and the military are very, very interested in these solutions, so we've got someone dedicated to it. Thinking about the scenarios that we typically see for empowering employees, one of them is remote assistance. And I don't know, is anyone familiar with this product that we have for this? Few people, okay, very good, thank you. Maybe like 4% of you, that's okay. So the notion here though is that you're able to, you're working or maybe you found an issue, you need some help, you're doing some maintenance. You are able to, through the use of a device, the HoloLens or a tablet or a phone, get in touch with an expert somewhere else, maybe even on the other side of the world, who can then see through your eyes and help you through the problem. And they, in the scenario that we're showing here, that you can do video chat, you can share photos, share documents, you could mark up the space digitally potentially. They could mark up the space and do things with arrows and circles to show you where things are happening. So it's just one way to help employees get the help they need when they need it. Another one that we see a lot that really helps people do their jobs better is to provide them the ability to go hands-free, especially in industries where you might have greasy environments, dirty environments, and certainly if you can think of environments where there shouldn't be any contamination, right? So like surgical environments. That ability to be hands-free and not have to use a keyboard or a screen or flip through pages, physical pages in order to be able to do your job is going to help an awful lot. Yet another one is the ability to empower employees through the use of X-ray vision, right? So in a way that they never were able to before, some of these mixed reality devices are giving this ability. So if you have your, if you have your model of whatever it is, your building, your car, your product, and you have all those layers kind of designed out and you know where they are, now you can provide that overlay for your workers and they can be able to see things, and so it's going to reduce the number of mistakes they make. If you think of just thinking of your own home, right? How many times have you wanted to put a nail in the wall or drill into a certain place and you wished you had that ability to see exactly what the blueprint had laid out behind the wall there. So this is another example of way that you can easily give employees more power to do their jobs through the use of these visualizations. Collaboration is another big one that we're starting to see. So as companies are going more global, we're hearing a lot more use cases of people who need to collaborate with different people around the world, but they need to look at the same thing and agree. So for example, on design changes or it might be a data visualization, it might be a new product design. The ability to kind of come together in a space, review the design together, and communicate over that in real time is very, very important. And that we're actually finding a lot of customers who were early adopters of virtual reality solutions are tending to move away from those now, because those tend to be just sort of a one-on-one situation, right? You're in the environment and you can't really collaborate with anybody else. Like, you can view in very high detail, but you can't necessarily then point something out to somebody else who's in that same space with you. So we're finding a lot more use cases around this kind of visualization. The ability to see where somebody's eyes are looking, right? If you've got like one of these avatars here, see where they're looking, use pointers, walk around the object. It really, really helps collaboration. I've had customers tell me that when they're trying to collaborate over design files on just a flat screen, even with images, some of them tell me, it takes us like half an hour or an hour just to agree on the part that we are talking about. So this pretty much takes that time just out of the picture, right? Like, you can go very quickly to what you're talking about in the 3D space. Finally, the really kind of killer scenario for almost all companies that I'm talking about is training and guidance, and kind of improving how that's done. So I want to kind of go a little bit deeper on this particular one. And just to say, there's some stats here, but I will say, talking to most customers, there's sort of two things that they're coping with. They talk about the sort of aging of the workforce, right? And that they've got folks who are nearing retirement age, who have a lot of expertise that needs to be captured. And it's very difficult to kind of capture everything that's in their minds and pass it on. And I've also had customers tell me, over 50% of our workforce might be retirement age. If all those people retired at once, we couldn't run our business. So they have this very pressing need to kind of get that knowledge out of those heads, or at least pass it on to the next generation. And on the other side of that spectrum is that younger generation that's coming in. They're very well trained up from school, but they don't have that sort of real-life, hands-on industry experience yet, so they just aren't up to speed. So there's this very real need to get them up to speed more quickly. And at the same time, the folks who are coming in, customers are telling me, they are not as accepting of the old school kind of traditional training materials, right? They don't want to sit through a boring online training or page through a PowerPoint deck in order to learn what they need to know. So the ability to give them a more cutting-edge solution for training, not only is it going to train them better, but it's going to be sort of more of a draw for them to come in. I also just want to mention, people forget things really quickly. So I feel like I can't emphasize this enough in the training perspective. If it's a job or a task that you do all the time, then you're fine, right? If you're going to do it every day, you get trained on it, and then you have that experience. But if it's something that you do, maybe a process or a procedure or something that you may only have to do once a year, then it becomes much more critical to offer the kind of training that can be kind of consumed just in time. And that's why sort of more of a digital solution is better than a traditional sort of train the trainer, or like a human trainer that has to be available, or something that they have to access, right, through a book or online. If they can just kind of put on a device, go through the motions right before they have to do the procedure, it's gonna help a lot, and it's gonna reduce mistakes, and it's gonna reduce cost. So just to sort of summarize with the training, it helps standardize. Like, I talk to customers who say we have issues with how our training is delivered because of the style of the trainers at our different locations may differ, right? So we know that people are getting a different training experience just because the trainers are different. So how do we standardize that? Certainly closing the knowledge gap, right? Getting your staff trained up more quickly, and getting them able to do their job faster. And like I was mentioning, that culture transformation. If you're using a more cutting-edge tool to do the work, then it's going to be more appealing and a recruiting tool. And people even say to me, like, we want to be able to put a picture of this kind of training like on our LinkedIn to be able to recruit, right? So this is one of our interests in kind of adopting this technology. So just to talk about a solution that my team worked on, Honeywell needed to train their workers on equipment, and they wanted a really hands-on experience of how to like sort of take out a part and replace it with a new one. Their goal was sort of cost savings, because the equipment was large and expensive to move around. So they either had to bring it to where the workers were being trained, or they had to bring the workers to it. So by making a virtual solution, they could kind of save the cost of having to do all that transport. But they really wanted them to have that hands-on experience. So, with the coming of the HoloLens 2, we're getting very close to a time when gestures are going to be very much more real and true to life. But when this solution was developed, it was very limiting in terms of the gestures that you could do in the holographic space. So my team helped Honeywell work on a solution where they could actually manipulate those parts, remove them, put them back in. And Honeywell claims that it has reduced the length of their training by up to 150%. So just quick pitch for those who are not familiar. If you want to get started right away, we do have an app for this. So it's called Guides. It works for the HoloLens, both 1 and 2. And it gives you an easy way to kind of develop content yourself. So there's just sort of a drag and drop graphical user interface for doing that so that the training manager can create the content really quickly. It is anchored in space. So if you are training in a particular location, you can do things like make those little dotted line indicators over to where a particular bin or a part might be to help guide people. And then finally, it's neat because it gives a dashboard to the training manager. So it can show them how the employee performed along the different way, or all employees in aggregate as they're going through it, which is actually useful because then you can see if they're spending too long on a particular step, and most employees spend too long there, then the problem probably isn't with them, it's probably with the training, right? And there's a way that you can make an improvement at that step. So anyway, just wanted you to be aware there's this app available. There is a trial for it, so if you have a HoloLens device, you could download it and get started right away. Okay, moving on to optimizing operations. Just like this quote in terms of thinking about operations beyond just what we might typically think of in terms of supply chain or logistics and things like that, it is really giving any organization the power to act and to create value. So thinking about that, some of the scenarios that we're seeing a lot, digital twins, which means just the creation in digital form of any process, item. You could create an entire factory floor and duplicate that and show all your IoT processes happening, or you could create just a particular part and work on it. It lets you run simulations on whatever it is, if it's a piece of equipment. Lets you train safely, especially if it's a dangerous piece of equipment. And it also can let you see the status of it from anywhere. You don't have to be like right next to the item or the process in order to see the status. Putting data in context, another way for you to be sort of anywhere in the world and to call up a visualization of your data. So in this case, this is an example of IoT data over an electrical and water plant in Dubai. And it's like anyone could just call up this visualization and look at how the plant is performing and drill in and see the processes happening at any different place in the plant. Path optimization is one we're seeing more, using AI in order to determine the best path. So definitely in like really large warehouses where there's pick and pack operations happening, it will let a worker sort of pick the fastest path. It saves a lot of time and reduces fatigue. And you can even not only give them the best path through, but you could even do things like light up the particular bins around the warehouse that they need to go to. Spatial planning is another big one for operations, right? So talking to manufacturing customers who are, they have to like lay out a new plant. They're doing it with, cardboard or wood and things like that, and it makes it sort of cumbersome to make changes really quickly. So if we can just lay it all out in the digital space, we can understand, how things fit together, where the safety zones are, can the equipment move through, and different things like that. And then finally, back to remote assist, definitely one to help operations, right? So in terms of maintenance, troubleshooting, the goal being just to get things back up and running quickly, right? So let me call an expert. Don't have to wait for someone to come across the globe and be the expert that can come and fix this. Let me just call them, they see what I see, and we can fix the problem really quickly. And just as a plug, we have an app for that. So again, something that you can just get started with really quickly and try right away. And you don't need a HoloLens for it, although it does work well with that. It also works for Android and iOS devices. And just to kind of give another case study, there's a power generation company that my team worked with. So they wanted to use this remote assist capability to do their troubleshooting and to get help, but then they extended the solution with the ability to start work orders and fill out forms, right? So they went a little bit beyond what the app currently offers, and this is in place today. Moving on to customer engagement. So Forbes tells us that 89% of companies are competing on the basis of customer experience, but perhaps they're not doing as well as they think they might be. So the scenarios that we're seeing here, and ways that really, if you've got like a customer-facing objective in your company, there's a lot of things that you can do, and this space fits really well. So certainly immersive experiences. I think we all saw the Universal theme park in Satya's keynote, right? So things like that, right? I mean, obviously for hospitality and theme parks and things like that, they're definitely looking at these technologies. But even retail stores are starting to look more and see what they can do. So like in terms of layout, how the store feels, not only what you might typically think of in retail stores, but even like banking institutions are coming to us and saying, like, how do we create the bank of the future? How does it look and feel? Can we kind of design that in the virtual space before actually building it out? In terms of visualizing products, I think this one might be one that even people have used, right? Like try it on virtually or place the object in my home. We pitch it here as a sales tool, but certainly it's one that's sort of across the board becoming more like just let me see 2D what this thing looks like in my space or what it would look like on me. And then digital overlays of information, right? If I'm in a store, maybe pop up a little bit more information about something that I'm seeing or a way to get a discount. And wayfinding, I'm hearing this from customers across many industries. Like they don't have an app today, or maybe they don't have any way for people to do this, but if they have a large space, thinking about hotels, hospitals, I mean, this conference, right? How many people could have used a wayfinding app to get through? Yes, thank you, I know. Let me get back to the parking garage, please. There's so much need for this, and it's so possible now. I think hopefully we'll start to see this more and more. So we have some good case studies that you would expect with sort of the design my kitchen or place the product and things like that. Like we've got a lot of good customer stories there, but I did want to share. We are starting to talk to more educational and cultural institutions, and they are really seeing the value of these technologies, sort of for helping bring things to life and educate the next generation. And so this is some work product from an ideation session that my team did with a museum in Europe, and it just sort of shows all the different ways that you can bring this technology to bear on a particular challenge. There's even a second page. So just that sort of massive amount of ideation. I don't know if this is applicable to folks in the room, but like if you've got like a product or something that it's anything that like evolves through time. I mean, that's another big one for museums and cultural heritage. Like they're working with buildings that are hundreds of years old. Like how have they evolved over time? What did it look like before? Even some of the local theme parks, as they're approaching sort of anniversaries of their existence, they want to show people like, hey, if you were here in the 70s, this is probably what it looked like to you back then. Okay, so finally, here we are at transforming products. This is definitely sort of, I think, on the challenge level, the area of greatest challenge and the like sort of least easy to engage with quickly, but probably provides the most value overall. So the scenarios that we see here, a couple of really key ones. Definitely the 3D design, right? So if you're able to take your design process into a digital space and do it there, it's going to just speed things up a great deal, right? So we talked to a lot of customers who were doing design on actual physical things like clay models in the automotive industry, cardboard kind of layouts in the warehouse and manufacturing industry. And so if we can just take that digital, it's going to make us make changes so much more quickly. And we don't have to get like sort of way down the road with a big physical expensive model and then have to scrap it if we want to go back to the drawing board. It's also really helpful as a communication tool, right? So once the R&D team has come together on a design and they've got something, they can very quickly take that to the leadership, kind of give them the device and say, like, look, this is what we're thinking, and it allows for feedback very quickly. So it's just helps the iteration go much, much faster. The other one that we're seeing, in terms of product transformation, we're seeing really strongly in the medical industry. So thinking about the product here as something like a surgical procedure, we are talking to quite a few medical companies, so not only actual surgeons and sort of on the care side, but also medical device manufacturers who want to be able to change how the care is delivered, right? So if you think of how they're doing it today, They're taking scans of the patient, x-rays, CT scans, things like that. And they are having to plan the surgery beforehand with these sort of 2D things. And then also when they're in the room actually doing it, they're kind of having to flip back and forth between those images and like sort of what they have in front of them. And the notion is, let us actually do that overlay and provide that x-ray vision directly on the patient for the procedure that's happening. So it's just going to increase accuracy so much and reduce mistakes and errors and time that you're spending trying to figure out where things are and how to do things. And I know, like, I'm not a physician, so I'm speaking at sort of a very 100 level about this, but lots and lots of medical institutions are coming to us and saying, like, we believe that this is going to really revolutionize how we deliver the care, so we want to work with you and partner with you on making this possible. And I will say, too, with the medical device folks, same deal, right? Like, there's things, if you think about like positioning a catheter, right, and how that's being done today, a lot of it is like fairly blind in terms of how they're doing it, right? They're very experienced and they know what they're doing, but they still aren't able to kind of see. And if they could get a little bit of guidance along the way, it just is going to help the outcomes so much. So again, we've got a couple of nice case studies with Medtronic, with Becton Dickinson around this, and I'll leave this as a takeaway, so it'll be in the deck. There's more information that kind of details it out. So to sum up, if you're thinking about engaging on one of these areas of transformation for your company and you're wondering how to get started, my best advice is to find that solution that gives you the most value, right? So get the right stakeholders together in your organization, pull them together, and Microsoft can help here, right? So we can help in terms of like everywhere along the way, from providing education and briefings to sitting down with you and doing an ideation or envisioning session. Typically, we'll sit down with customers and kind of everyone can just brainstorm. Like, here's how we'd like to use this technology, or here's how we think we could. Get a whole bunch of different voices in the room, and then we can help you get to the one that we think will deliver the most value for sort of the lowest entry point, right? Like, that's actually feasible to do, but will be a high ROI for you. You can, as I was mentioning along the way, we do have first-party products. So if you've got a device and you're interested in getting started, you can start free trials of these like today, basically. Very frictionless process to get started with some of those. So just to reiterate, guides for training, remote assist for that remote collaboration scenario. We do have a product visualize application and also one for laying out a room. So basically that works with the HoloLens, and it will scan the room and then let you place objects within that space. And you can either use the sort of built-in ones, or you can import your own files and do it that way. And then you can save it back out, the whole file of the room, once it's been scanned. And then I definitely recommend, for more complex scenarios, we have a team of digital advisors within Microsoft who are basically dedicated to digital transformation. And so they will come and work with you and do similar efforts, right? They can do ideation. They can help produce ROI for particular scenarios. And certainly my team, we can do the same, right? Sit down with you, ideate, and then develop sort of a product development roadmap and estimates for the effort it's going to take if you want to do one of these solutions, and there's not already something in the marketplace that can answer the need. So quick pitch for the digital advisors. Like I said, they are just there. They're part of the Microsoft team. They're to help you do this kind of like dream big and then get to how to deliver. So I would say if you're interested in trying to work with one of these individuals, like talk to your Microsoft account rep. They'll be able to get you connected. Wanted to just kind of outline that my team does have sort of a standard approach to how we work with customers. Again, we work across all industries, and we just follow this sort of very time-honored process that we've developed over the 4 years of kind of ideating, working through, moving you to a POC or a prototype, and then all the way to production if it turns out that that's where you want to go. Just to support that, we do have offerings that are ready to go and that can help you get started. And I will just mention there are many more mixed reality sessions at Ignite. We are kind of coming to the end of the week here, but of course all these decks and presentations and recordings will be available. So once you get back, if you want to learn more, there's plenty of content out there. And I'll leave you with a few general resources as well, just about the concepts. So that's my talk We do have some time for questions if folks have. I think we've got microphones here in the centers if anybody has a question. Come on, be brave. Lay it on me. Yes.
Is there a place to see a HoloLens demo here at Ignite this week?
I know for sure there was one yesterday. I have not like searched through the scheduler, but come see me after and I can hook you up. I'd like to. You'd like to actually try one? All right, come see me after the talk. I can hook you up. Okay. Oh, the hub has them? Okay, thank you for that. Do you have a location in the hub?
It was to the left of. It's by Theater 10.
You're Theater 10? Okay. All right.
It's a big sign it says AI and something else up there in the ceiling.
A little dedicated mixed reality section.
Okay. All right.
Hi there. Question about the use of mixed reality for collaboration just within the workplace. So workplace transformation, we know, video conference, everything's got limitations. I've seen examples actually of avatars being brought into that, and I'm just curious where that might be on the radar.
So say more about your question, right? So like what would you like to know specifically? Like how far along are we, or?
Is this something that's probably plausible in the next year or two? Are you starting to see people already having interest in this type of engagement for collaboration? I'm thinking of multinational companies bringing people together, multiple zones, that type of thing.
Absolutely. So it depends. Don't go away because I have more questions for you. So it depends on what you're looking for. We're definitely seeing this interest, but the decision is basically, are you looking more for, thinking about your own scenario, right? Would you be looking more for, you've got like a charismatic leader that you want to appear and address people as themselves, right? So that's one thing. So like they'd have to be like sort of fully scanned and imaged in order to be able to do that. Or are you just looking for, let's come together in a room, be represented roughly by an avatar, kind of like those ghostly figures that I showed, right? Not an exact impression of you, but something that looks, just like human-like and has gestures and can raise a hand and things like that. So what, when you think about what is motivating you to ask this, which way do you think?
It's probably the second scenario where it's actually bringing someone in virtually, and I'm using an example that I actually saw in a video, but I work with a global team at my company. I'm the only one in the United States, so trying to do meetings sometimes, it seems like it would be so much better to just put on, a HoloLens or something that's augmented reality and be able to have that experience of being present and being able to share, especially as it deals with product development or anything like that
Sure.
you alluded to earlier.
Yeah, right.
I'm just
absolutely.
curious.
Let's gather. Yeah, so certainly we've developed custom examples of that, but I will point you to, there's a partner called Spatial that is dedicated to that kind of collaborative augmented, like mixed reality video conferencing. So you can check them out, Spatial.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hi there.
I'm thinking of implementing HoloLens with a factory product line kind of environment. And I was wondering, are there any current success stories that I might be able to follow up on to kind of help push upper management into purchasing some of these and trying them out?
So say a bit more about what you're trying to do, if you don't mind. So like, I've got the device on, I'm laying out a new line, or?
So we have product lines. We have factory lines in which all of our products are being hand-built, but it's multiple different products on the same lines. They're all made custom. The idea I'm having is a virtual version of the product in its finished state or its production state, where the people on the line would be able to select the individual parts and assemble, and then pass the product on to the next assembly station.
Okay, and so you're saying you need a training for them to be able to do that assembly work?
More just curious if there are any current stories out there of other companies who might have already used this, just so I can research up on the ROI that they've had, and just kind of put on some extra armor against the questions I know I'm going to be receiving.
Right, sure. So, I know we've done some nice work with Toyota Material Handling on their kind of line work, and I think there's some AI work in there as well. I'm trying to think of a few others. If you come and see me after, I'll be able to kind of give you a few more, I think. But yeah, 80% of my conversations are with the manufacturing industry.
Awesome.
So this is really, there are use cases and case studies for you, yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, thanks.
Hi there.
So Alex Kipman just announced that the HoloLens is available for purchase by enterprise
Finally.
as of this morning. Is there any Microsoft contact representative here at Ignite that we could engage with to like accelerate that process?
Yes, absolutely. There are two folks from the global HoloLens sales team here that I can connect you with. Actually, I don't know if they're still here today, but they were here this week. So if you want to come see me after, I can get you connected.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, I'm so glad that finally happened. Like every single customer is asking me every single time I talk to them, like when can we have it? So it's great that it's finally out today. Okay. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, or if you don't want to get up to the mic, but you want to come see me after, I will be here a little while. So and thank you again, everybody, for coming to my session. I really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your conference.